What is going on, guys? My name is TheTenkaiChiFighter, or a lot of people just call me TKF, which is generally what I go by these days. But anyway, this is my very first time to MoshPit, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy my commentary and the battle that I'm bringing to you today. Now, I haven't battled for a very long time, as I did stop uploading Pokemon on my channel for a while. This is actually my first battle in about 2 to 3 months, so I'm really looking forward to getting back into it and narrating again. This is against 1Mil456, the standard OU match, as you can see by the teams there. Both bringing pretty standard stuff, so... Anyway, we'll see how this match goes. So I'm going to go ahead and lead out with my Bronzong, as my opponent's going to opt to lead out with his Kabutops. Already, it's not a bad matchup for me, seeing as I know there really isn't anything that he has to hit me with, and I know I can take whatever, but judging by me having a Zapdos, I'm pretty sure he's going to Stealth Rock. And I've seen his Dragonite, so, you know, for me to get these Stealth Rocks up is really important, because if he wants to come in later on, that'll break his multi-scale, and obviously that means I'll be able to hit him for more damage. So now I kind of figured that he'd want to switch or hit me with something that wouldn't do that much, so I'm just going to go for the Hypnosis. If it misses, but if I hit it something as it switches in, that's going to be great. And I actually do manage to hit, which is fantastic, seeing as now his Kabutops is asleep, and I hit him with a Gyro Ball. Now I do give him weak armor, which is actually good for me, because it raises his speed and lowers his defense, which means Gyro Ball will be doing more and more every turn. So now he's going to make a pretty obvious switch into Suicune just to resist my Gyro Ball. And I kind of figured that he was going to switch, but like I said, I haven't battled in a long time. I really wanted to play this safe. I just go for the EQ knowing that something's coming in, and it happens to be Suicune as I thought. It doesn't do anything, so now I'm going to be forced to switch. Now I make a painfully obvious switch into Celebi. He's going to be able to predict this very nicely, hit me with an Ice Beam, and it actually does a pretty good amount of damage. I am a defensive set as opposed to a specially defensive set, so not really much surprise there, but I actually take that quite well, which tells me this Suicune probably isn't that invested in special attack. But now obviously he's going to be scared of the Grass Knot, so he's going to switch out into his Dragonite. Multi-Scale is broken thanks to the Stealth Rocks. I predict the switch very nicely, managed to hit him with that Thunder Wave, and that's going to cripple his Dragonite completely. Now it's slower than everything on my team. It doesn't have multi-scale, so I can hit it hard with anything on my team that is able to hit it hard. So right here I'm going to stay in, and I'm actually going to fish to see what kind of moveset he's running on this, see if he's choice, mixed, and he actually goes for the Superpower. Now, if I'd have been paying attention during the battle, this would have told me that he was predicting my Heatran to come in on the Fire Blast. So right there, he essentially told me he had Fire Blast. I completely ignored it. I'm very rusty. If I'd have been paying attention, I might not have lost my Celebi, but unfortunately, I'm just going to predict the switch here because it was a really stupid play, and I should have known he had Fire Blast. Because of that, he goes for it, and that's actually going to be able to take out my Celebi quite early on in the match, which will hinder me later on. It really would have helped out, but hindsight is 20/20, and it's very, very unfortunate. So now this at least provides a free switch in to my Salamence, which is Choice Banded, which means I'm going to be able to hit him with that Choice Banded Stab Dragon Claw. Obviously, he's not going to want to leave in his Dragonite at this point, so he's going to make a switch, and I know there's nothing on his team that wants to take it or can take it very well, so I'm just going to go straight for that Dragon Claw. It's too early to lock myself in on Outrage because he has things that he can bring in to deal with me. So I'm going to take out his Kabutops with the Dragon Claw, which is very nice. And now, for whatever reason, he brings in his Dragonite. Now, I was kind of predicting the E-Speed here, and I thought, you know, Ments can take that pretty damn well anyway, so I'm just going to hit him with the Dragon Claw. But he doesn't go for it. Maybe I thought he could have saved that later for fodder, or maybe he was using it here as a pivot switch into Heracross. I really don't know, but anyway, Heracross does come in. I'm going to be forced to switch because I don't want to take a Stone Edge, and if he's choiced, he'll outspeed me, so definitely want to go into Bronzong here. I could have gone into Heatran, predicting the close combat, but, you know, Bronzong was a safe switch into either or, so best play I could have made right there. So now he's going to bring in his Dusclops. There really isn't anything I can do against this. I mean, it has Taunt, it can shut down most of my moves. But I'm going to go for the Hypnosis here just because, you know, Kabutops is dead and there's nothing else that is asleep, so it's fine. But now I'm going to switch into Heatran, predicting the Will-O-Wisp, just because it's a good way to get residual damage on my Bronzong. Unfortunately, he goes for the Taunt. Now, I'm really not sure if this is standard set at the moment because, like I said, I haven't battled in a long time, but that really caught me off guard, so now I'm going to have to switch into Zapdos. I didn't see anything on my team that wants to take a Will-O-Wisp or get taunted or something like that. And I kind of figured, you know, Zapdos is probably the least useful thing on my team, despite him having Suicune. So I'm going to go into that. He actually double taunts, predicting my switch again, which was an absolute nightmare. And I'm just going to stay in here, go for the Thunderbolt, figure, you know what, he's already taunted me, he's, you know, probably going to burn me now, which he does, which is very, very unfortunate, because now I have residual damage on my sub-roosting Zapdos, which is specially defensive, so I pretty much just crippled my Zapdos due to a series of misplays, which is very, very unfortunate. But now I'm going to switch into Heatran, a turn too late, thinking that if I'm burned and I'm taunted, there's nothing he can do to me. He goes for the Nightshade, reveals that, that's nice, it's good information for me to know. And I essentially get a free switch because, you know, that's not going to hurt Heatran too much. Since I'm a specially defensive set, I'm going to be able to take that. Well, I'm going to take it with 100 damage. That's what it does. But, you know, I have a lot of HP, so it's fine. So I'm going to go for the Toxic, predicting the switch into Suicune, which would have been obvious. But strangely, he goes into his Terrakion. Now, I find that very strange because I do carry Lava Plume and I could have, you know, gone for that. But anyway, it works out for him, I guess. So I'm going to need to switch now because of the close combat. Definitely don't want to stay in on that. I'm going to go to my Bronzong, knowing I can take that or a Stone Edge. He actually over-predicts and goes for a Stone Edge, which was pretty nice, I'm not going to lie. Going to take it pretty decently as well. And here he does reveal that he is Life Orbed as well, which is also great information for me for later on in the match. So I'm just going to stay in my Bronzong, fodder it off. There's nothing on my team I want to switch into a Terrakion because, you know, Terrakion's power is immense. So he is going to take me out with that CC. I'm not really too bothered that I've lost Bronzong. His Dusclops is pretty much history at this point, so anyway, now I'm going to opt to bring in my Scizor, and I kind of figure here I can scare him out with a Bullet Punch, predict the switch into Suicune, and go for that Choice Banded Technician boosted U-turn. Is it Technician boosted? Probably. But anyway, he brings in Dusclops, which completely ruins my plan, as U-turn's going to be resisted. It's not going to do much, although it does give me, you know, a nice switch initiative, which I can use to my advantage. So I'm going to do that, and judging by, you know, previous switch-ins and whatnot, I know that Salamence is going to be able to deal with anything, so I'm going to bring that in. I do take Stealth Rock damage, but I know I can live another 2 switch-ins, or 1 and a bit. So I'm going to go for that Dragon Claw, knowing again he has nothing on this team to deal with it. And now that I've taken out his Dusclops, Heatran is good fodder for me because, you know, I really needed it with Toxic, but now Dusclops is gone, it's fine. So here I'm going to switch out again, knowing that I don't want to take that Stone Edge, so I'm going to go out into my Heatran. He could have predicted this and gone for the close combat, but it really wouldn't have bothered me too much, seeing as, like I said, Dusclops is gone now, so it's not really too big of a problem. Hits me with a Stone Edge, take it fairly decently. I've taken it a lot better than what my Salamence would have. But obviously here he's going to be threatened out with the Lava Plume, so he's going to go into his Suicune. Painful play is kind of obvious, so I'm just going to hit him with the Toxic on the switch. Probably the most obvious switch other than my Celebi switch in this game, but going to be able to get residual damage building up on that Suicune now, which is absolutely great because I now have options to, you know, be able to stall it out as opposed to hitting it hard with, you know, essentially something I don't have to hit it hard with, seeing as Zapdos is pretty much useless at this point. It's not going to be stalling much at its current state. So I'm going to go for the Protect here, just on the slight inkling that he wants to overpredict, and he actually does, and go for the Ice Beam. Now I was thinking I could bring in Mence because he's not going to go for Ice Beam again, but I figured it would really be safer to just leave Heatran in as fodder, and, you know, who knows, he might overpredict again. So I'm just going to hit him with my strongest move, which is Lava Plume. It's the only offensive move that I have. And it turns out he actually overpredicts twice, which is really nice for me, as soon as I get a free hit off. Unfortunately, it's going to be resisted, so it really won't do much. But like I said, I have Toxic, Protect, Roar, and Lava Plume, so it's really the only thing I can hit this thing with. And if I'd have switched into Salamence, I would have just lost that, and I would have had pretty much a useless Heatran, so it was a good job that I stayed in. But now I'm going to switch because I know he's definitely going to want to Surf now. There is absolutely no other move he's going to go for. It's 100%. So I'm going to bring in my Zapdos here. He is indeed going to go for the Surf. I'm pretty confident I can take it. However, I am pretty heavily invested in Special D. And as you can see, I do take that pretty well. I do live the Stealth Rock switch in, and I am going to be able to survive the burn damage as well. So that was really, really nice for me. Key turn. Means that I can stall out his Suicune a little bit more, and judging by the damage he's taken already, next turn the Poison's going to finish him off. So I'm just going to roost up here, knowing if he Ice Beams, I'm going to lose my Flying type, therefore it won't be doing that much damage. And, you know, if he Surfs, judging by what I've already seen, I'm going to be able to take that pretty decently, and I can effectively just keep roost stalling in, which is not very nice, but, you know, it's probably my best option at this point in the match. So I'm just going to go for that roost. Here you can see the Toxic damage is finally racking up. It is going to be able to take him out this turn, which means, you know, Zapdos did something, which it never does for me. Whenever I use it in a match, it never does anything, so that was a proud moment for me. I was proud of my Zapdos. Anyway, in comes Terrakion. Now I can switch predicting the CC, or I can stay in, predicting the Stone Edge, or, you know, I could stay in predicting him to CC and overpredict, but it really wasn't worth it. It's not worth predicting at this point in the game because I know if I play safely, this is my game. So I leave in Zapdos as fodder, which gives me a free switch to my Heatran. And I was thinking, if I protect, he's going to die to Toxic. Now here were some misplays on my part, which actually end up benefiting me. So I go for the Protect here, thinking that he's going to die to Toxic damage. He goes for the close combat, which would have easily taken me out. And as you'll see here from the Toxic damage, he doesn't die. And that was absolutely key to this battle, because I'm actually going to Protect here again. Thankfully, I don't get the double Protect, as you'll see why. He's going to take me out with a close combat, which means that this turn, due to the Toxic damage, is going to be a double down, which means I'm going to be able to bring in something blindly as he brings in something blindly. And that actually works out in my favour, seeing as I appear to have the stronger Pokemon left on my team. So As I said, it's going to be a double down here, and he's going to opt to bring in his Heracross, probably the best thing on his team because it's scarfed or whatnot. And I'm just going to opt to bring in my Salamence here because I know he has nothing on his team that wants to take a Dragon Claw. So I know at this point I can fodder off Salamence, and because my Scizor's Choice Banded, I can finish it off with 2 Bullet Bunches. Unfortunately for him, he is going to miss his Stone Edge. I really don't think it mattered too much unless he got a crit on my Scizor, but I'm going to be able to take him out with a Dragon Claw right here, and that will actually turn out to be the match. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed my commentary. Please leave me some feedback in the comments. Come check me out if you enjoyed. I've really enjoyed posting here to MoshPit, guys, and I'll catch you guys later. Deuces.